What's up everybody, Volvo7 from the Freelancers Union here, and you're watching a two-part series of Redhorn's Bootcamp. So this is intended for people who are new to organized outfits, and the first episode is gonna cover all the basics you need to know to survive. And with that said, yeah, you might want to get your pillow cause it's gonna be slightly boring.
Main thing is you still want XP when you're playing the game. You don't want to lose XP, but you also don't want to kind of maim the squad in doing so. So there's kind of several tips you can have to kind of make your life easier for killing people and just bring in the XP whilst not running in front of the squad and destroying everything we have. So number one, positioning. Make sure you stay against walls, which is always a big thing. When you're in a room, sticking to the walls is kind of a key way to be successful. You want to stick to the walls, not run around in the middle of a room, because then you don't obstruct anyone else's line of fire, and you also are never where the enemy's looking. No enemy walks up a staircase aiming at the wall. They always have to have that split second to move their sights onto you, and you can start firing before them. Second thing is thinking about angles from where you're standing. You don't want to be standing where you could be shot from a 180-degree angle. You want to try and get yourself so you have as small angle of firing as possible. That way you don't get killed as much. So when doing that, you want to be thinking about windows and doors. If you can get shot through a window, not a good place to stand because you'll always get sniped through a window. We did a practice scrim a while ago. We had our entire scrim team defending a point, holding it down really nicely, killing all the others. Suddenly we had a sniper shooting us through the window and he killed all of us in about 30 seconds with a semi-auto sniper. And it was horrible. And that's where you got to think about it. Especially when you got bigger fights, there's going to be one person of the 100 guys that are fighting against you will always be looking through that window. Same goes for doors. Make sure you're not kind of sitting with your back to a door where someone can just have an easy angle on you. Just try and always have your back against the wall. It will just make your life easier. Don't block others. So if you're in a firing position, make sure you're not standing in front of someone else that's going to cause them difficulty. That's always a big thing. When we fight in rooms, we've always got three or four people just running in front of the door. And we always end up killing them, and then medics have to run there and get killed themselves, and it just becomes a disaster, and we all killing each other. Directly or indirectly, it still happens. So that goes for into this. You've got to crouch. If you're standing in a room, two of you can take a firing position. It's simple. You look at Egler, look at me. We can both shoot. I'm crouched in front of him, so we're perfectly good. If you crouch down in front of someone, then it gives you two guns in one body. The person that's crouched will normally die first because not many people aim for the head in this game, which is amazing.
User joined your channel.
So that's nice and simple. Just always think about where you're standing. It can make a bigger difference than you'll expect it to, believe it or not. I know a lot of you already know that, but just hammering it home. Number two is using your initiative and just thinking about what you're doing. When you hear a squad leader give the order, you don't need to follow it to the letter. If they say go to A point, you don't need to take the fastest route to A. You want to get there effectively, because if you run halfway there in the direct route and get shot to pieces, you don't actually get there, so you're not actually useful in any way, and you're wasting the squad leader's time. So think about it. If they say go to A, you quickly glance at the minimap, you see there's a building to your right, you can run around that, stay out of line of fire of the enemies, and then you'll actually get to A point. Do that. Every order that's given doesn't need to be taken literally. You can kind of interpret it, which is where it comes to kind of using your own experience to make the squad as a better squad. Again, don't run blindly into fire. If you know people are going to be covering a corner, don't just run around the corner. Try and move away or flank the enemies that are covering it so you can clear it up for everyone else. You don't need to get to the position instantly, unless the squad leaders specifically told you to get there as fast as you can. You can try and kill the guys that are making it difficult for you to get there so the squad has an easier time in general. I mean, saying that, don't ignore the leader. You should never ignore the leader, but as I said, think about his order. You don't want to be a zergling, you don't want to show off, so try and find the balance in the middle. Nice and simple, really. I mean, as I said, flanking you should do as much as you possibly can, because flanking will kill enemies. If you run up behind a guy in this game, you will kill him unless you cannot shoot and have some horrible disability. In which case, you really shouldn't be playing an FPS, or you need to practice. So, always flank. Whenever you get the opportunity, whenever you see the opportunity, jump on it, just flank. Lowhurst is one of our best players I always like having in my squad. He never follows my orders, he always just jumps behind the enemy and slaughter them. Which is good, because if I say let's move here, and there's guys covering it, and one guy goes around kills them all, the rest of the squad doesn't have to worry about it. But you should always be thinking about that yourself. And again, use kind of attack moves. If you play RTS, everything's called an attack move, where you get your guys to move to a position. But they won't just run there, they'll engage targets that engage them on the way. So don't just run somewhere. If you see guys coming up as you come halfway to point A, kill them first, or at least try and kill them. So get in cover, take them out, then move up. It's nice and simple, really. It's just basic stuff again. But just try and always have your brain churning. I know gaming, some people say, is a brainless thing, but you need to be thinking to do well. Number 3, use cornering. Make sure you kill people. Different things like pre-firing and stuff like that can always help. If you have a big mag, I've got a Carl S with 200 bullets here. Amazing gun. Start firing before you go around the corner. If you know there's people there, you want to get that first shot off. There's always lag compensation in this game, so if you just start firing just before you corner around, you'll get the kill on them pretty much undoubtedly, because they will not have time to react before you've even killed them. Try duck shooting, stuff like that. You can duck down when engaging people. They'll miss a few shots, then you stand back up though, because otherwise they just start getting headshots on you and you die faster than possible, which sucks because I do that all the time. I duck shoot and then don't stand back up and I die faster than I would if I hadn't done. Make sure you don't reload or sprint when you're going around corners, because you can't get your gun up fast enough, and as I said, there's that little bit of lag compensation, so you want to give yourself as much advantage as you can. If you reload going around a corner, then there's a guy there, you're dead. And if you sprint around a corner and there's a guy waiting there with his sights up, you won't have that little advantage you get from walking normally around the corner with your gun up, which comes from lag. Good tip, not so much with TR weapons, but if you ever play NC, is aim for the upper chest, because the vertical recoil drags you straight onto the head after 1 or 2 shots, so you take them out faster. And the upper chest is probably the widest area, because you've got the shoulders and the hitbox around there. So your horizontal for TR on recoil can bounce around a bit and it won't affect you as much. And when you're a heavy medic, use your abilities in combat, because believe it or not, that heal ability and the shield definitely can save your life. The shield, if you're playing heavy assault, you should know to use the shield, and if you're a medic, you can not only save yourself if you get down to a little bit of health, you can give yourself that kind of quick boost before another guy starts firing you. What?
The fuck, mate?
Okay, and yeah, and you can save other people around you if they're going down to low health. You can use the combat medic AoE thing to save them before they die, even if you do die. Lastly, I guess, or not lastly, but one of the things you've got to do is use the minimap. Use the minimap all the time. It's a really useful utility. You can see buildings, you can see flank routes, you can see where enemies are, especially when you're playing squads. There's going to be recon darts and stuff down, so always keep half an eye on the minimap. But don't get tunnel vision and stare at it, because you'll just run around the corner and get shot without even seeing the guy. And you can also, just so you know, you can zoom your minimap in by using the square bracket keys, which are the 2 things next to enter, and you can press H to make it bigger. That's always nice if you're playing as a leader. H is a nice little ability, and zooming it in is a necessity. If you're defending a building, have it zoomed in all the time, because you can see, I use smoke and markers to mark doors and stuff, you can see exactly where they are, rather than like right now, if you look at your minimap, it's just a clump of dots. Doesn't make much sense. Choosing targets, I think the FU agreed priority order is Sundays, MBTs, Lightnings, ATVs, and aircraft. Nice and simple, really. That's the order of things you should shoot stuff, unless specified otherwise by the squad leader. Always use C4 and tank mines as primaries to try and get these vehicles down, because it's the fastest. Rockets, if you're in a squad, work fine as well. Lastly, I'll quickly run over some certs. I think want grenade bandolier on a heavy and a medic if you can get it, because anti-vehicle grenade, conk grenades, and revive grenades are I can't say words today. Speaking too quickly. Are a necessity. That was pronounced wrong as well. Facepalm. For playing well in a squad. AV grenades kill maxes, conk grenades for breaching, and revive grenades for reviving. Flak for NGs makes it really good. If you don't like utility, go flak, because if a max is getting rockets pumped into it when you're running around repairing it, it will keep you alive, the flak. As I said, the grenades, make sure you've got your support tools max. I go kinetic for maxes, some people would say flak, but if you're in a squad, you're going to get repaired, and you'll get revived if a rocket takes you down. When you're breaching a room, you want the little bit of small arms resistance to kill the softies as a max. And make sure you have gate shield diffuser for your Sunday, because gate shield diffusers are priceless. Okay, that's basically section 1, the talky bit, because talky bit, yay. Okay, if you're just make sure you're always aware of what class you're playing. Supports should always be playing the support in a squad. You have 2 types of support class in this medic in this game. combat medic and squad medic. Combat medic's fine, solo with them. You kill stuff with that, and then you have the heal ability, and you have the heal just for bringing that little bit of XP. Squad medic should focus on reviving. Your med tool should be your primary, and this goes for engineers as well, with a tailored to a max. Always have that med tool out, always be reviving people. Obviously kill the guy first if there's someone shooting a revived corpse, but you should focus on keeping people up, because reviving that one person can be a split-second difference between winning or losing a battle. It's happened so many times where our medics are trying to kill people rather than revive, and we end up getting wiped because they can't kill them, because they're medics and have no ability to shoot people. Lol. Again, NGs, make sure you've always placed ammo. Whenever the squad stops, you want ammo down on the ground to keep people loaded, especially when we're firing rockets and stuff, because you run out so quickly as a heavy. Heavies, maxes, make sure you absorb shots from the supports. Medics always should be alive. You should never let a medic die if you're a heavy. You've got to throw your life on the line. KD doesn't matter in this squad, because if you keep the medic alive, you're going to get revived and your KD won't be affected. Redeploying, redeploy quickly. Well, as soon as you hear the word redeploy, hit that redeploy key. You have 10 seconds to cancel it if need to be. But the faster you redeploy, the more likely we are to be successful. I hate it when we have 2 minutes to drop on a base and save it easily, but we say redeploy and the platoon takes half an hour to redeploy, and we don't save that base nor the 20 bases behind it on the lattice link.
Stop.
Stop what?
Mate, the fuck? Leave him.
Are you getting angry that I'm running around?
I don't know what is.
And lastly, stay together. Just always stay in a group. It's nice and simple. If you're in a group, you're one body with 12 guns. If you spread out, you're 12 bodies with one gun. You're more likely to die. You fail the squad horribly when you spread out. If it's a quick flank, it doesn't really matter, but whenever possible, stay together. Not hard. Okay, let's redeploy to Ezimir Warpgate. We'll go and do some practical stuff.
Also, if you're a medic and you saw your squad get wiped and you're still alive, make sure you have the res grenade. It always helps to have one.
He's right. Res grenades, use them liberally, because, I mean, even if you're only reviving one person, if you throw it onto a guy that's in a bad place, he'll get up and you won't get killed in the process of getting up. So use them well.
Also avoid the heal grenade, because it's practically useless.
Yeah, it's not too good.
Okay, so this is it for part 1. In part 2 we're gonna cover some of the facility breaching techniques.